Charles the Bald was born in 823. Some of his earliest memories would have been in captivity, a hostage to the machinations of his older brothers, especially Lothair and Pepin. In 830, their father, Louis the Pious, took Aquitaine off Pepin and gave it to the 7-year-old Charles. This was more than enough to enrage Pepin and also his petulant brother Lothair into open rebellion. They successfully deposed their father and sent him and their youngest brother into captivity. For Charles, this would have been a traumatic experience, and one that would have shaped not only his worldview, but also the impression he had on his brothers. Certainly they would all continue to come to blows even after their father's passing in 840. Louis had outlined his plans for the boys in 817. When Lothair was crowned co-emperor, Louis the German was given the east, and Pepin given lands to the south and west. The move in 830 was simply a miscalculation, and Louis paid the price by surrendering the throne. It was only thanks to Lothair's complete inability to govern that saw Louis reclaim power. Charles succeeded as king of West Francia on his father's death, and almost straight away found himself fighting against Lothair, who saw an opportunity to take advantage of Charles's inexperience. Charles, though, with the support of Louis in the east, however, kept Lothair in check, and in 841 dealt him a blow by devastating his army at the Battle of Fontenoy. Both Charles and Louis had attempted a peaceful resolution to the conflict, but Lothair's headstrongness had led to a catastrophic defeat for the now sole emperor. The 840s continued to be a time of great upheaval, not only for Charles, but every European ruler, thanks to the ever-growing threat of the Viking invaders, and in 845 they famously sacked Paris. Charles initially tried to defeat them militarily, but soon had to resort to paying them off financially. This was a tactic he'd use again later in his reign to buy himself some time. In other works on other early European kings, I have criticised this tactic of paying off Vikings, as it simply only encouraged further attacks. And Charles certainly didn't stop the raids with this either. However, at least Charles did demonstrate some backbone when he claimed a victory in battle against the Vikings. In the aftermath of that battle, the leader of the Vikings, the King of Sweden, Bjorn Ironside, offered to pay homage to Charles. This really counted for very little, as some of Bjorn's own men had taken hostage one of Charles's abbots and were demanding an enormous ransom. The relations with the Vikings would continue in much the same course for the rest of the 9th century. It wasn't only Charles's siblings that caused him a family headache, but also his children. Charles had played host to the King of Wessex, Athelwold, who was on his way to Rome. On his journey home, Athelwold made arrangements to marry Charles's daughter, Judith. Through this marriage, Judith became stepmother to Alfred the Great. Judith married again after Athelwold's death, this time to King Athelbald. When he died not long after, she returned to her father, but absconded from him and ran off with a certain Count Baldwin. Another one of Charles's children, a son called Louis, known as the Stammerer, was born in about 845. Charles had him married to a nobleman's daughter in about 856. That particular nobleman had given Charles real trouble, and the marriage stabilised matters in that regard. But Louis, as he reached manhood, began to listen to ill advice, and openly rebelled against his father, laying waste to the county of Anjou, and attacking forces loyal to Charles. His uprising was eventually seen off, and Louis eventually came back to his father. Another one of Charles's sons, also called Charles, was accidentally killed during some horseplay with some companions after a day of hunting. His death is described quite graphically, with a blade apparently penetrating his brain.